You're listening to The Lyndia Grant Show. Think on these things with Lyndia Grant.
Well, good evening, Radio 1 listeners. Today is Friday, June 2nd. It's good to be back here with you again in Radio Land. Thank you for tuning in to The Lyndia Grant Show. I'm your host, Lyndia Grant, and this month, for the entire month of June, we will be celebrating our 13th year of being on WYCB. It has been a good 13 years, and I can remember when I first came on the air, I was shaking in my shoes, nervous, and reading every line. Then one day, my baby sister Jackie told me, "You're not being yourself. Just talk to the listeners the way you talk to the world." The very next show was better, and thank God we've been getting better and better as we go. And then all the training I had from Willie Jolley and Les Brown, God is good. So today I'm here with my friend, Dr. Willie Jolley. He is here to give us an inspirational message to help carry out your goals, and he has an exciting workshop, some training coming up sometime this month, I think on the 16th, so he'll tell you the details. Stay tuned as he shares details about this event. You might want to tell someone else to join. Say hello to Dr. Willie Jolley before I go to Dr. Julianne Malvo. How are you today, Dr. Jolley?
I'm honored to be on with my dear friend Lyndia Grant, and I'm honored to be on the same show with my dear friend Dr. Julianne Malvo. And so I am so honored to be here with you ladies, you power team women who make stuff happen. And to all the listeners everywhere who listen to you, I'm grateful for all of you who have been supportive of me and supportive of this station and supportive of this show. And I'm grateful, grateful, grateful. First, I want to say to everybody who knows I start the same way. I have only just a minute, only 60 seconds in it. Forced upon me, I can't refuse it. I didn't seek it, I didn't choose it, but it's up to me to use it. I must suffer if I lose it, give account if I abuse it, just a tiny little minute. But our eternities are wrapped up in it. So grateful for this minute, this moment, this opportunity to be on with you again.
All right, thank you. So now we're going to you better stay tuned, because after our radio commercial, our second guest is the one and only Dr. Willie Jolley. Now we're going to talk to Dr. Julianne Malvo. She is another speaker extraordinaire. She's subject to be speaking anywhere in the world, just like Dr. Jolley. So, Dr. Julianne, welcome to today's show, our anniversary kickoff.
Well, nobody's surprised that the top of the news is the debt ceiling and the negotiations that are going on in Congress. It looks like we're getting to a good possibility, but it's very interesting to see the very many bumps in the road that we've had so far. Finally, Kevin McCarthy, House Speaker, and President Biden have come up with something that looks like an agreement. It will cut domestic spending just a little bit. It will suspend the debt ceiling altogether, which is a good thing for President Biden. He won't have to deal with this year after year, and it certainly will put it on the next president's plate in 2025. Democrats had to give some things up, and so did Republicans. And on both sides, people are angry. But the next step is for this to go to the full House. It needs 218 votes, and then it will go to the Senate. And hopefully it will go to the Senate over the weekend, because the deadline for all of this is, of course, Monday, June 5th. Now, many people say that they don't believe the deadline or they don't think it's that big of a deal. It's a big deal, y'all. It's a very big deal. Already we've basically damaged our international credibility. This kind of fighting in public under international lens is unacceptable. That's what we've done. Standard & Poor's has said they would lower our credit rating, or they could lower our credit rating. It was AAA, which is the best you can get. In 2011, the last time we went through this, we went down to a AA, I think it was a AA plus, which some might say that's not bad. It's not good either. So what we really need to look at is how we can prevent this in the future. Who gave up what? Well, there will be a work requirement for people who are, quote, able-bodied, don't have dependents, so single people who receive food stamps. Theoretically, they will have to work now 20 hours a week somewhere. Of course, this bureaucracy has not been set up, so really what does that mean? But in any case, that's the work requirement. And my question about the work requirement, of course, is this. Who will enforce it? How will they enforce it? Will there be some bias in the enforcement? In other words, if Becky, and y'all know who Becky is, if Becky is enforcing, will she go after black and brown women, or will she go after women equally? So I think we have a challenge here, but at least we will not be defaulting on our credit. What the Republicans give up? They wanted 20% cuts in domestic spending. They're not going to get that. In addition, President Biden's proposal to relieve student loans, they left that alone. They said they were going to take it back. They left it alone. Of course, it's in court, but still, if it clears the courts, people will get student debt relief. The thing that Democrats gave up, people will have to start paying back their student loans, which have been on suspension since 2020. So a little give and take. I'll tell you, the person who I'm looking at as one of a rock star, really a rock star in terms of the way she handled herself, is Shalonda Young, who is the head of the Office of Management and Budget. And what she said is what people must say. If everybody's unhappy, that means that was a compromise. And nobody seems to be happy with this. Now, the far right, the Marjorie Taylor Greens of the world, they say they won't vote for it, and neither will the far left. And so this is basically the legislators in the middle, and nobody really wants to see our government default. So June 5th, Monday, is the day. We'll be looking at what happens. Will they meet over the weekend? Will they come in for a Senate vote on Monday? Will the Senate toe the line? There are a few senators who say they won't. So this is where we are as of Wednesday, and this is a very fluid situation. Things can change at any time. My prediction: they will pass this. They will pass the legislation. No, everybody will grumble, and the beat goes on. That's my prediction. They'll have to work out some things with the work requirement, but the beat goes on. So the people in the middle, the centrists, they don't want to see government default. Now, the person to take a second look at is Kevin McCarthy. He got his speakership after 15 tries. After 15 tries, he got his speakership, and any Republican can call him out. Again, I don't think it's going to happen, but it's something to pay attention to and to look at. The other thing, so that was the economics of the week. That's really been going on. Mm-hmm. Now, the politics of the week, well, it's economics and politics. The politics of the week are very interesting when you look at some of the other political angles here. What does this mean for Democratic leftists, like the Jay Pauls, who's the head of the Progressive Caucus? She was very much against the legislation. Will she vote for it or not? We'll look at some of these far right people and see what they're going to do. But at the end of the day, what we know is there's going to be a deal. So the politics, the economics aligned here, and that's where we are. Now, in other news, down in South Carolina, a store owner shot a 14-year-old child in the back because he thought the child was trying to steal 4 bottles of water. 4 bottles of water, which if you go to Costco, those things are 30 cents a piece. So that's $1.20. He's an Asian man, but that shouldn't matter, and it kind of really doesn't. What matters is just the proliferation of these guns and what young people, very young people, I mean, this, to me, 14 is a child. I saw one newspaper that said 14-year-old man. No, at 14, you are not a man. You are absolutely a child. At the same time, I know that in Washington, D.C., they found an 11-year-old who's responsible for a crime spree. Who do we blame that on? Well, we might blame it on the lack of resources for young people in terms of their activities. We might blame it on parental neglect. But the fact is that when we treat young people as adults, they act like adults. And it's unnecessary. It's very sad, Lyndia. It's very, very sad. But it seems to be where we are these days. Mm-hmm. A couple of weeks ago, May 17th to be exact, we commemorated the 69th anniversary of Brown versus Board of Education. I just mentioned that. I didn't mention it last week. I just mentioned it because it's important. 69 years later, have we improved our schools? In some ways, absolutely have. But in many, many other ways, we have not. And I think our young people and others are suffering from educational segregation, from insufficient resources. what will this debt ceiling bill do to education, to dollars that go to the Department of Education and then trickle down to local schools? So the Brown versus Board of Education was the first chink in the armor of white segregation. First chink in the armor, but it's not gone. The segregation is not gone. We have residential segregation, we have educational segregation, and so it makes sense to, and I lifted up today, of course, because Rainbow Push and Push Excel, we have talked about this, and we had a webinar yesterday on Brown versus Board 69 years later, and everyone on the panel was shaking their heads saying, we make progress, but we've also stepped backwards. And there's a book called Jim Crow's Pink Slip that talks about all the teachers who lost their jobs when integration first went into play in the South. Teachers and principals were fired simply for being members of the NAACP. The final thing, I don't know if it's the final thing or not, you'll let me know, but... Yes,
that time is almost up.
Okay, affirmative action is under attack yet again. Not only affirmative action, but of course critical race theory and all these things. Affirmative action is likely to go to the Supreme Court, and we already know what the court is likely to do, which is to turn affirmative action back. But in Texas, they actually have gotten rid of all the offices of diversity. They just passed a piece of legislation, no diversity. No use of the words diversity, no office of DEI anymore. And, of course, we know what's going on in Florida. So even though there's some good things that have happened in the past week, I hope people are ready for the fight because the fight is on. It is on.
It's getting ready to be like tumbleweed. It's going to roll right on across the country as people allow it. All right. Thank you, Dr. J. I appreciate you so much here on my 13th anniversary radio show. We're celebrating 13 years this month.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Julian. We will be back after we go to our commercial break, and we will be talking to Dr. Willie Jolley now for our commercial break. Back in a moment.
If it wasn't for my care coach at AmeriHealth, I probably wouldn't be so healthy right now. As a man, we don't get checkups or see a doctor regularly anyways. It's probably just a man thing because none of my partners go either. We know we should, but we just don't, and hope it works out.
So what changed for you?
AmeriHealth assigned me a care coach, somebody that gives one-on-one help, answer questions, explain things, and help set my appointments. She also helped me understand what having high blood pressure really means and ways to manage it so it doesn't kill me. It ain't nothing to play with. If you're a member of AmeriHealth, ask for a care coach. I'm glad I got mine.
At AmeriHealth, if you need a care coach, you can have one. Just call us at 1-877-759-6224 to get connected. 1-877-759-6224. This program is funded in part by the government of the District of Columbia Department of Healthcare Finance. Mayor Muriel Bowser.
Washington and former religion columnist Lyndia Grant.
Who Moved My Cheese is a book about two types of people, those who accept change quickly and move on, and those who hem and haw and try to figure things out. They didn't see change coming and waste valuable time trying to figure out what happened. How did this happen to me? Let's call this group procrastinators. The lesson inside the cheese story is simple. Life is change. Brother said it best when he said, if I accept you as you are, I will make you worse. However, if I treat you as though you are what you're capable of becoming, I help you become that. We must change and keep moving. The Bible tells us to seek and you shall find, knock and the door will be open unto you, ask and it shall be given.
Read more in the religion column of the Washington Informer, an award-winning African-American newspaper. We don't report crime or gossip, just positive news. Pick up the Washington Informer or visit us online at WashingtonInformer.com. Call 202-561-4100 for more information.
This is Frank Smith with the African American Civil War Museum in Washington, D.C., located at 1925 Vermont Avenue Northwest on the Green Line. Did you know that a recent study found that children who visit museums do better in school and in life than children who do not? So parents, teachers, and preachers, let's get moving. I promise you, if you bring your children to the African American Civil War Museum, they will be inspired by the images that they see. They will be impressed by our living history reenactors who are always available, and they will be involved in our scavenger hunt that takes them throughout our exhibit. That's the African American Civil War Museum, 1925 Vermont Avenue. Our hours are 10 to 6:30 on weekdays, 12 to 4 on Saturdays and Sundays. See it, be inspired.
are back. Now we're going to go to our second half of our show. I'm going to briefly introduce Dr. Willie Jolley because if I tell you everything about him, we would use up all the time. He is a Hall of Fame speaker, award-winning singer, best-selling author, popular media personality, one of the outstanding 5 speakers in the world by Toastmasters International. He has been inducted into the prestigious Speakers Hall of Fame. The Veteran Speakers Association named him a legend of the speaking industry. He's also the host of a #1 motivational show in America on Sirius XM. He's the author of several international best-selling books, just one he just talked about. It only takes a minute to change your life. Best-selling author, another book called A Setback is a Setup for a Comeback. And then Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last. He holds his BA degree in psychology and sociology from the American University. He has his master's in theology from Wesley Theological Seminary. And not too long ago, he became a doctor. He got his doctorate in faith-driven achievement from the California Graduate School. So welcome to the show again, Dr. Willie Jolley. You got some exciting things going on. Talk to our listeners.
Well, first, I am so excited about being on this power show. I'm just excited. Congratulations on your anniversary. You've done just a great job. I've been on the show over the years and seen how you've continued to grow as a radio personality, as a communicator. So I just want to say bravo, 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 Lyndia. Well, you were known, though. Everybody knew you as a great journalist and a great person around town, social activist, community activist. But, making that switch to radio, it is something that's different, and you have mastered it, and I just want to applaud you, and Les and I are both proud of you. And I am excited because we are now going into the 6th month of the year, and it is the point where we're almost to the halfway point. And I want to say to all of the people, how are you doing this year? How are you doing in your goals? How are you doing in your objectives that you set? Did you set some goals? Now, that's one of the things. Have you set goals for this year? Have you planned that this is going to be a better year than last year? And if you didn't set the goals, why didn't you set the goals? And I can tell you the answer. I already know that most people don't set goals for one of 2 reasons. One, because they don't know how. They hear about goals, they make their New Year's resolutions, which they lose and forget by the 2nd week in January. Then the goals that we have heard people talk about, you've heard them talk about them, but you didn't do it because you didn't know how. Number 2 reason that people don't set goals is because it's hard. It's hard work. It's cognitive work. You have to do strength training in your brain. And many people don't want to do it. They don't want to do the hard work. But I want to make it possible for you to hit goals. Why? Because people who set goals live longer, have greater revenues, make more money, and statistics show they have more fun than those who don't. See, most people, they go through life without setting goals, just kind of bouncing around, kind of going wherever the wind takes them. But those who set goals know where they're going. They have a destination in mind. If I gave everybody on this on the line today or listening today, if I gave you a ball, just a baseball or some ball in your hand, and told you to hit the closest wall to you, wherever you may be, could you hit it? Of course you could. Just throw the ball at the wall and hit it. Boom. Now, let's say I took that same ball, put it in your hand, but now I put a blindfold over your face. And I turned you around and around and around and around and around till you didn't know where you were. Could you hit the same wall easily? No. Why couldn't you hit it? Because you can't see it. And it's hard, impossible to hit what you cannot see. It's even more difficult and impossible to hit what you don't know. So how are you going to hit a goal if you don't know what it is? How are you going to have a dream come true if you don't know what your dream looks like? That is why you need to set goals. So I want to encourage everybody to set goals. In fact, we have a goal-setting class on my website. If you go to winwithwillie.com, winwithwillie.com, it's still time this year to set your goals, to plan your year, to make this a better year than last year, to help you make more money this year, have better health, have more fun. So go to winwithwillie, WILLIE, winwithwillie.com, and look for the goal-setting class. When you get there, by the way, Lyndia mentioned, I've got something very exciting that's coming up. You know, we recently heard the mayor of Washington, D.C. said that D.C. needs a comeback. The president of the United States recently said America needs a comeback. And the Surgeon General just released a report that said there's a new crisis in America, a crisis of loneliness, anxiety, mental health issues, and suicide is on the rise because of the post-pandemic experience. People are living lives of quiet desperation. Oh, they look good on the outside, but on the inside, many people are struggling. And so after I heard this mayor say we need a comeback, and the president say we need a comeback, and then this situation with the Surgeon General, I decided I'm going to do something. Many people know I wrote the book, A Setback as a Setup for a Comeback. And a number of years ago, I did a one-man show called The Comeback Show. Turn your setbacks into incredible comebacks. And it tells my story. It's like a Broadway show that tells my story of being a nightclub singer, where I actually do a nightclub act. I used to do a little bit of my nightclub act. And then how I got fired and replaced by a karaoke machine, and how I was so depressed and despondent. But somebody gave me a motivational tape that gave me a new perspective. And that motivational cassette tape changed my thinking. And I took a job with the school system, started giving speeches as part of my job, and then went on to start a speaking business. And a decade later, being named one of the top 5 speakers in the world and being inducted into the Speaker Hall of Fame and becoming a legend of the speaking industry. I want to tell the story in real time with music and motivation, inspiration, entertainment, funny stories, life lessons that people can use to turn their setbacks into incredible comebacks. We're going to do it on June 17th at Emory Fellowship Church. We're going to do it at a church because it's a faith-based program to encourage people to have faith, focus, and follow-through. And it's a very intimate setting, only a small group of people, number, not a big auditorium, small, intimate, wonderful venue. So we're encouraging people immediately to go get your tickets because it's going to sell out. And so if it does sell out, though, we'll know that we're planning to hopefully have some more as the summer goes on. But we want you to come to this one, Father's Day weekend, and you go to thecomebackshow.com, thecomebackshow.com. It will change your life. We're grateful. The Washington Informer did a great review on it last time, said this is a life-changing night.
I know it is. You spoke for me one year when I had a Father's Day event, and I never will forget that. That is one of your good topics. So I think that is such an exciting time, first of all.
Yes. Well, it's exciting, and we're excited for it. And I remember speaking for you. And I remember your family was part of the event that evening, and they were such great caterers. I don't know if they're still doing that, but they were great caterers. So they were celebrating you and all that you've done. And I just want to celebrate you, Lyndia, for your consistent work to help people all over the city.
And you know, Willie, on Juneteenth, one of probably 50 to 75 people being honored by the Presidential Volunteer Award. It's going to be at Matthews Memorial CME Church on Martin Luther King Avenue at 3 o'clock on Juneteenth. So thank you for saying that. And you know, it takes a long,
You deserve it. You deserve it.
You deserve it. I've been working 40-some years, and look how long it took for something like this. My goodness.
Well, you deserve it. You deserve it. You've been in the trenches. You've been in the wine press. You've been you consistent and stayed true to it. So I want to applaud you and say bravo, bravo, bravo. And what's so impressive is this. You did it as a single mom who did not let the challenges stop you. You did not stop when things got tough. You kept the faith, and I just want to applaud you and congratulate you and celebrate you on all your accomplishments. But here's the thing, Lyndia. Here's the thing, and I want everybody to hear this for themselves as well. When you don't give up and when you don't throw in the towel, God has something special for you as a result. And I say to you, Lyndia Grant, and all the other listeners, your best is still yet to come. Come on, somebody.
Yes,
come on, somebody.
You know what? As soon as God spoke into my spirit, I got right on my phone and called and sent you an email and was hoping you wasn't somewhere in Sydney, Australia or somewhere. I'm glad you're in town.
Well, I'm glad I'm in town, too, and I am grateful, and I'm able to be a part of this exciting show and the exciting celebration.
To celebrate my month, anniversary month. Yes, indeed.
Anniversary month, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited that everything's falling into place. I'm here. The anniversary, my show is coming up on the 17th, and then I want people to set their goals so they can make this year the best year ever. So this is a great time for people to really dig in and think about what they want to achieve. I want to help them with the goals and then help them to have an incredible, incredible year.
Now tell them how to get their tickets again.
Yes,
so we
go
run out
to
of time.
The Comeback Show, thecomebackshow.com, or just go to winwithwillie.com. Everything is right at that winwithwillie.com site, and you'll be able to see not only the information about the show, but you'll also get information for some goodies that we give away there, some chapters from my marriage book that Dee and I wrote. We'll see excerpts from our marriage show. Some of my music will be there. We've got lots of resources right there at winwithwillie.com, winwithwillie.com, that will inspire, empower, encourage, uplift, and help you to grow. And some of it is absolutely just there for your taking.
And I want to encourage listeners. I've participated in workshops with Willie Jolley and Les Brown, and sometimes with both of them, they're together. So that's why God had it inside of me. I would be scared, but you know what? The seed had been planted, and it just takes time for us to grow into who it is God wants us to be. So I want to encourage you to please get your ticket.
Yes.
Go to his website and sign up so you can come to this training.
It's going to be life-changing, and it's going to be entertaining, and a great Father's Day gift for fathers. You want to do something special for your fathers? Do that. Oh, by the way, I will be speaking that next morning. So it's the 17th, is a Saturday night. A great Father's Day gift to bring your dad to. And the next morning I'll be at Shiloh Baptist Church, 9th and P Street for their Father's Day service. So you can join us the whole weekend. I'll be in D.C. Saturday night with the one-man show, the comeback show, and then Sunday morning with Father's Day service at Shiloh Baptist Church.
All right. Well, thank you for being my guest today, Dr. Willie Jolley. And tell Dee I said hi, and Cheryl, I love you all. Thank you so much, Dr.
Lyndia.
Jolley.
Thank you. It's a joy, a privilege, and a pleasure to be on with you. Hello
right.
to all your listeners.
Thank you. Well, folks, that does it for our show this week. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram. And read my column in the Washington Informer newspaper. Right now, I'm talking about the 13 Principles to Success by Napoleon Hill, and I'm doing them chapter by chapter. So pick up the Informer. If you are trying to set your goals and get inspired, that gives you steps one at a time. All right. Join us again next week as we have a show about health. My mom died from complications of diabetes 23 years ago. And during my anniversary month, I have to have some doctors on to talk about diabetes and how people can prevent diabetes or either bring their HbA1c down. We hope this show today with Dr. Willie Jolley has been helpful. Please sign up to come to his seminar. Consider the points that he's given you today as you continue to move forward in your goals. I close with this every week. Words, thoughts, and deeds have a boomerang effect, so be careful what you send out. Scripture says, my people perish for the lack of knowledge. So think on these things. From the Lyndia Grant Show, I'm your host, Lyndia Grant. Until next week, good day.
Thank you for listening to The Lyndia Grant Show. Think on these things with your host, Lyndia Grant.